What's up, y'all? So we're out on a project here in Jacksonville. We are re-roofing a project and doing some other things with a general contractor, and it is day 2 of this project.
Yep.
But in this video, make sure you stick around because we're going to be talking about how we overcome problems and hiccups that happen on our roofing projects, because in construction, that's inevitable at times when things are outside of your control. So we got Drew here. This is his project. And yeah, give us before, where we're at now, but give us a backstory on this project and what we're doing here.
Yeah, so this is a church re-roof that we're doing. We have shingles being torn off. We're putting on metal. There's also some areas of TPO roof that we're installing, and then also some roofing hatches. Just backstory on this one is the plans read that there was actually a layer of decking. When you tear into the shingles, the first layer that should have been there is a layer of decking, and that wasn't the case. So Swordsmen Roofing, we had to put our heads together and figure out what the best route would be in order to get this roof done and up to code and passing all inspections. So what we had to do is when we tore into the shingle, we found that there was just ISO board, about 2 1/4 inches of ISO board, and then underneath that there was tongue and groove. Which again, if you walk into the church and you look up, you see the bottom side of that tongue and groove. So we have to be very careful of not to use too long of screws in the situation that we have, because we don't want anything penetrating through, those cathedral ceilings. But just to kind of circle back, what we found is now we have to deck over top of that ISO board. So we've had to go out and find either 4.5 or 5-inch screws to be able to screw into the new decking, go through the 2 1/4 inch ISO, and then to penetrate and bite into that tongue and groove, but not too much to where you see it through the cathedral ceiling. Again, I know a lot of information, but it's something that was unforeseen, something that the GC didn't know, something that we didn't know until we actually broke into the building and actually found this. So again, just being able to bob and weave, like see what's going on, and put our heads together to figure out the best route in order to accomplish the project. So we again are day 2 now. We've got screws on property, and I'm hoping by the end of the day we'll have about half of it dried in a good spot.
So I wasn't a part of any of the pre-construction, obviously, because that is not what I do. But tell me a little bit. So initially on the initial proposal, you assumed that, or you were told that there was already wood decking like you see on most buildings and homes, and then you would only replace wood decking if there was rotted wood. But in this case, there was no wood decking, it was all ISO board. So how did that change that going into this project? Did you have to revisit the contract, revisit the proposal, or what did that look like?
It's called a change order. It's not a fun process. We don't love change orders. General contractors don't love change orders, but ultimately, again, it's just the name of the game. It's the business, and then change orders happen. In my original proposal, it did not include for us to replace any decking. Any decking would have been an upcharge to do. And again, reading through the blueprints, we assumed, and what the blueprints read was that there was a layer of decking over top of the ISO board. So breaking into it, realizing that there's no decking, there's no Florida product approval for us to install high temp underlayment, which is what's needed underneath the metal roofing system. We have a standing seam metal roofing system that hides the fasteners. That's going to be going on top of the system. That's going to be the new roof. But for us, we have to have a high temp underlayment underneath the metal. And in order to achieve that, I can't put that high temp underlayment over top of the ISO. So that's where going through and having to actually add the decking on top of the ISO board, that's where that comes in. So again, it's an unforeseen cost, right? Yeah. And unforeseen is never fun, but we were able to work with the general contractor, work with the clients here, and make sure that everybody's in a good spot. They understand why we're doing what we're doing, and again, trying to do it as gracefully as possible and as cost effective as possible for our general contractors out there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you had to do that change order, and then how did that, I guess, that comes down to effective communication. Gotta tell them as soon as possible, and then give them the most cost-effective option. So what's the approach now? Did that add a lot of time into this project? Did that extend the timeline significantly, or how did this affect the project?
Yeah, I don't know about significantly, but it definitely affected the time frame of the project. So when you're going through and you're re-nailing a deck of a roofing system, typically you're using nails in a nail gun, and you're just toom, 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 toom. It's a lot easier. Whereas now we have to go and actually put about 255 sheets of wood on top of this building now, and then go through and actually screw down 4.5 or 5-inch screws through that new decking to where it bites into the tongue and groove. So instead of choom, 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 you're looking at zzz, zzz.
Yeah.
So
that's for the guys they're really good at it. For me, if I was up there, it'd be a
yeah,
5-inch screw.
I'd be worried Ben would shoot his foot, but me too, honestly. The guys up there, they're definitely educated and smart in their craft, but ultimately, again, it definitely prolonged the process. Again, we were hoping to come out here, tear it all off in one day, re-nail the decking in one day, and then at that point then install our underlayment more than likely in 1.5 days or so. But now we're put in a position where it's probably going to prolong the process, maybe 3 to 4 days now, that we're going to have to go up there, actually install the new decking, screw it in to the ISO and into the tongue and groove, and then at that point then put our high temp peel and stick over top of the plywood. So, again, it is going to prolong it. It's not like weeks or months or nothing like that, right? It's a few days. But again, hoping to still achieve that time frame that was given to us from the beginning.
Yeah, and it's funny talking with all you guys. I'm learning more about roofing and construction because you guys are the ones that have been in it for 9, 10, some guys 15 plus years.
Yeah.
And it always seems like the biggest thing is communication. That's
Oh, yeah.
what everybody says over and over. It all comes down to communication, because if we didn't communicate here, I mean, that would have potentially prolonged this process and just been
absolutely.
so much more of a nightmare. So I don't know how else we can talk about communication, because
I mean, I personally I love communication because it really just helps all parties.
Yeah.
Like, if we were non-communicative on this, then there was a chance that we might be we might have had to eat the cost on some of this stuff and again, that's going to put us in a really tough, tight spot here where we have a business, we have to make money. So again, communication's so key on Swordsman's behalf to make sure that we keep the doors open, but also if I'm not communicating to the general contractor, then he doesn't know or she doesn't know how to communicate to their client. So we understand that it's like a trickle effect, right? There's there's just a downflow of information that needs to go from us to the GC, from the GC to the client, because again, a large change order is not fun, but if we can explain why the change order needed to happen, what's going on, the situation, provide photos, it makes sense. And it's, again, what we're doing is the best possible way that we think to do this situation. Like, this is the best route for us to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess so far, I know we're only on day 2 of this project. We thought this would just be a cool update to share with you guys of where we're at. Another general contractor project that we're super excited about, and we got a lot more in the works that we'll be sharing with you guys. But anything noteworthy on this project that maybe we should share that could be helpful, or anything like that?
Really, I think at the end of the day, it kind of loops back into communication, it loops back into change orders, and it just loops back into having a really good contractor on hand. Again, we've been able to work through this with this general contractor. We've been able to work things through with them, again, to make sure that they're educated on what's happening out here. They know what's going on. They know how to get that information across to their client. And again, I think the biggest thing is just having a solid roofing partner, a solid subcontractor for the GCs out there, a solid trade partner that is going to, be by your side through this. Because the last thing that we want to do is leave our general contractors, leave them high and dry, because we know if we do, that's going to leave the client high and dry. That means that the client's not going to give the GC any more work, and the GC's not going to give us any more work. So it's a giant wheel that we just have to make sure that we are following up, doing what we say, doing it with excellence, and even when hiccups come, still being able to power through, face them head on, and see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's a great way to put it. And we even do it when it's this cold outside.
It's
actually warm right now because it's like 2 o'clock, but it's been freezing out here in Florida. We don't know what's going on. But
yeah, we don't have any of the problems that other people are having, like iced out and they can't leave their houses or anything like that. But we're not used to this 30-degree weather, I can tell you that much. It's very difficult walking the dog in the morning. So
Yeah, but the crew's getting it done. They're getting after it, and
yeah,
much respect to them for always doing a great job. But
for sure.
thanks for sticking around in this video. If you have any questions, reach out to us,
Yep.
or if you have any projects in mind, always feel free to reach out to us as well, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.